Hello and welcome to Unnecessary
Oh my
Roughness.
God.
No, don't do this.
Hello there. Welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast. Brought to you by High Noon Hard Seltzer. Kayce, tell them how delicious High Noon Hard Seltzer is.
I knew that this would happen. You were in such a great mood before we started recording. I should have known what you were doing, but I have good news for everybody. Good news for you, Brandon. Good news, Katie and Jack. High Noon has a new pack out. You've probably seen it all over social media. Dave's obviously done his promotion. It's the Snowbird Pack, which has the peach and the lemon, and then two new flavors, raspberry and plum. Now, I have not tried either one. They did not have them in the Chicago office all last week when I was there. But Katie and Jack, this has the potential. And I know I love the tangerine. I know the tangerine's my number one in the El Prez pack. This pack has the potential to be by far my favorite pack because I love the peach. We know the lemon is sneaky one of my favorites. It's like on my top 4 right now. I love plums and I love raspberry. I haven't tried them yet, so I can't say that for sure. But this new Snowbird pack, I think, is immediately going to skyrocket. I'm so excited.
Yes. Huge new addition to the High Noon world. There's a new addition almost every season, it feels like. So, when I saw it, it looks amazing. And I can't wait to have it. I can't wait to see it in the stores. That's always cool. Obviously, High Noon's in every store. But when you see a new pack, it's always like a kind of like a cool little thing.
Well, and it is like it's a winter pack. So it's like it's actually like it's more catered to. It's snowing right now in New York City. I know that it's not, I don't know if it's snowing in Chicago. It's snowing. Get the Snowbird pack. Also, we're talking about the college football national title game. And I know Brandon doesn't want to hear this, but we're going to have to talk about it. If you were ever going to drink the El Prez pack, it would be Monday night when Michigan is playing. So go get the El Prez pack. Get his pack. Watch Michigan. Hopefully Brandon is not wanting to scream and yell at us on Monday night when we do our live, but we'll see. HighNoonSpirits.com.
The idea that we got to drink and celebrate and root for Dave Portnoy's team.
I didn't say celebrate. I said if you're going to get a specific.
No, that was crazy meat riding. But I mean, all things can. It was.
I mean, it was a High Noon ad.
No, I know. No. I'm qualifying my statement. That was for an ad. So you got to we meat ride every ad, we glaze every ad.
If there's any Barstool employee who's happy because Dave Portnoy is winning tomorrow, fucking quit or do something else with your life because you're going down a bad path. It's a terrible look. That man is terrible. He does not deserve to win, and his team cheats. Okay? Now, that being said, we're about 36 hours from Michigan winning the national title. Yay.
You're just going straight to it, huh?
What do you want me to say? There's nobody on earth that wants the Washington Huskies to win this game more than me. Kalen DeBoer does not want Washington to win more than I do. Michael Penix Jr. does not want Washington to win more than I do. Nobody does. All right? I don't know what the name of their Husky is, but he doesn't want Washington to win more than I do. I don't see a path. I want to see a path. Everything about me is trying to find the path. They have the better quarterback. They have the better offense. But I think Michigan has the better team, and they're just going to win this. They're just going to choke them out. And
may I give you a little bit of a path? Now, I think Michigan's going to win this game. I think it's going to be much closer than a lot of people do. I know you said that you see a potential world where Michigan can blow them out. I'm doubling down on what I said last episode. I think that as a collective all year, Washington has just been disrespected in these spots more than they should be. Do I think Michigan's going to win? Yes. I think Michael Penix is not only – I mean, we know he's the best quarterback they've faced all year. That's not even a question. I think Michael Penix has a potential to skyrocket himself in the draft stock if he plays well. Because I know everybody knows he's the best quarterback in the country. He didn't win the Heisman, fine. Michael Penix is by far the best quarterback they have seen all year. And the way that he played, and I know Texas never got to him. They never sacked him. I don't even know if they hit him once. Michigan will do that. But Michael Penix is so fucking good. And I just don't see a world where he doesn't have a good game to keep them in this. Like, I don't see a blowout game here.
So we've got, I don't know, Hollywood, Congress, Dave Portnoy. this society rewards people that cheat and people that are bad people. This society rewards the worst of us. And Michigan, they enter this. Imagine this not being a bigger story. Like, we're about to play in a national title game, and one of the teams, their coach missed half the goddamn season because of cheating scandals, and it's just not even a story right now. And I do say one thing that goes against Michigan right now. This is clearly Harbaugh's last game in Michigan, right?
Yes.
There's no doubt. He, like, somebody said, hey, coach, what about your future? And he's like, yeah, I hope I have one. I hope there's a tomorrow and a Tuesday and a Wednesday. Like, that guy's done. He's finished. So this is clearly their only shot, right?
You don't hire Don Yee, who is known for, he's one of the best in the game. You don't go hire him in this and be like, okay, well, I'm going to fight Michigan, fight the Big Ten, fight whoever it is. So whoever's going to end up putting sanctions on him, the NCAA, and then stay. Like that to me is just not something that you do. Like when you like lawyer up the way he's lawyering up and the way that Michigan will get behind him, like what world do you think that the NCAA is going to come swinging? But Jack, I saw your face when you said you don't think it's a story, or when Brandon said he doesn't think it's a story. I agree with you. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh and the cheating allegations is still a major story.
It sure isn't being talked about very much right now. Go ahead.
It's over now, but like, it was the biggest story in sports for a month. I mean, I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. It was the biggest story in sports, and then we get to the national title game, and it's just
because the entire story was, they're cheating. They took away what everyone was describing as this massive cheating scandal, and they beat every team that they've played since.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of something. And then also, I mean, not to say that they weren't cheating. That's 100% they were. And they did break the rules, and who knows what the sanctions will be. But they are the face of, wait a second, how bad was this cheating actually? Because, I mean, we've heard from so many people, so many coaches, that everybody steals signs. Maybe Michigan was doing it a little bit more. But, I mean, it was kind of out there that Ohio State took signs from Rutgers, that they took from Michigan. I mean, it's like, let's not act like they had like a 35-year-old playing on, like they had Tom Brady playing for them.
Can I rant on Washington for a second? Because I know I've been ranting on Michigan nonstop. Okay?
Do whatever you want.
Jack, I don't know if you've noticed this. Well, first of all, when the season started, I, on this show, predicted Washington to win the Pac-12. I predicted them to go to the playoff. I predicted them to be very, very good. I even threw out 12-0. Now, it happened. Whatever. But as the season has gone on, there's been a couple of games out of 14, where people have thought Washington might lose to Oregon. Really the second time. The first time it was more of a toss-up. But the second time, they were 9.5-point dogs. That was disrespectful, I agree. And then against Texas, people thought Texas was going to win. And Washington fans act like they're the most doubted team in the history of college football. Like, nobody has ever – like, they're the little Mighty Ducks, and they're playing against the Stanley Cup champions right now. And if you come out and say, boy, I thought Michael Penix was pretty good in that national semifinal, every Washington fan's answers was the same thing. Oh, yeah, that's because you don't watch Washington football. Because you East Coasters don't watch the West Coast. You don't watch us. If you had seen Washington football games, you would have known this. Yeah, we all watched all your games. You were on primetime all year. We watched you. Why do West Coast fans love to say we don't watch them?
Well, it's an easy talking point, right? Narrative, quote unquote. Like you just say it because it's like, some of their games do happen at night. A lot of their games that were at 10:30, they didn't look great in. They didn't cover the number against Arizona, which that was kind of when Arizona started to become this really, really great team. So there's nothing wrong with that. You won on the road. They almost lost to Arizona State. Yeah. They almost lost to Cal. Those were the games that were at 10:30 where us, the little babies on the East Coast, even though we have our streams every Saturday night at 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. I digress. Us little babies, we can't stay up past 1:30. Those are the game, or 10:30. Those are the games that they didn't really play amazing. They're amazing games. Like they
Well,
did
the Oregon
that.
games were right in prime time.
Oregon games were in prime time. Michigan State game where they just killed them. That was in prime time. I'm trying to think of others. Washington State. That was in prime time, and they barely got past Washington State. I mean, I'm not saying that that's something to look down upon, but let's not act like, oh, wow, we missed these amazing performances at 10:30, or you were playing at 3 a.m. in Japan. You weren't.
Well, so there's two things here with that. One, I feel like that's usually a narrative that like Major League Baseball fans say, or NBA, because they have so many more games late. Like if you don't watch like any West Coast baseball game, it's because you're asleep. College football as a whole is in prime time. Yes, there are a few at night, but when it comes to football, like that's just not the same argument. Like, yeah, we're watching California teams play in the NFL. We're watching California teams and the West Coast play in college football. I digress. However, Brandon, I do think, I'm not saying that they're, the JV squad playing like the Patriots in their prime time. I do think Washington has been disrespected. And I mean,
for being an underdog twice.
No, I think because the way that and I fell right into it, and I'm not saying that I'm better than it because I fell right into it against Oregon when they played. We watched them beat Oregon in a shootout earlier in the season. We watched it happen. And then all of a sudden, whether, Vegas was high or whatever, they're 9.5-point favorites. And I couldn't have bet Oregon faster because I was like, well, Oregon's defense was better. And it's like, we completely forgot what happened in the regular season. And then they beat Oregon. They go undefeated. And we saw Texas lose to Oklahoma earlier in the year. And I did the same thing again. Texas is going to beat Washington. No question in my mind. And now it's like kind of fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times. Now, again, Michigan is going to win this game. But the narrative that it's going to be a blowout, to me, we're just falling in the path that we found.
I don't think it's that. Like Brandon said that as a like kind of like he thinks it could be a blowout. I don't really think it's a narrative. Like Brandon, do you really think there's a potential for a blowout like any game?
I think if there's a potential for blowout in every national title game, first of all.
Yes.
Secondly, if there is a blowout in this game, it is Michigan blowing out Washington. It is not Washington blowing out Michigan. That is my point.
Yeah. I would say. Also, I mean,
I'll just say it. I think Michigan wins this game comfortably. There, do y'all want me to say it? I'll say Michigan wins this game comfortably by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I also said Texas would beat them by 2 or 3 touchdowns. So take it with a grain of salt.
It's a fine point, and I see a path where like Michigan can do that. And I do think that there's elements of every national title game. You could probably argue it, but I think Washington is being disrespected a little bit, and I'm doing it again. I think Michigan's going to win this game, but I understand where Washington fans
Can I stop you there, Kayce? It's not disrespect to say Michigan's going to beat Washington. Why is that disrespect?
That's fair. The word disrespect, yes. Okay, so
it's used too much.
That it is overused because disrespect.
They're 4-point dogs. Like it's not like they're like 35 point, you know what I mean? Yeah. Go ahead, Kayce. Sorry.
No. The word, you're right. The word disrespect is overused in these types of conversations because real disrespect has like a malicious intent to it. And I don't think that's what it is. I don't know what the word you would use is, but I do think that an undefeated Power 5 team who every single time has proven that they, whatever narrative's probably overused too. Like Washington fan, if I was a Washington fan right now and I'm looking at all these major games throughout the season, it's like, the collective group of talking heads is taking the opposite team, I would feel that way.
Yeah, I think you're talking about 2 games. I think you're talking about the rematch against Oregon and the game against Texas. And if 2 games is enough to make you feel like disrespected poor nobodies, then maybe that's coming from a different place.
I mean, the Pac-12 championship was a play-in playoff game. Like whoever won that game, especially Washington, was most likely going to be in the playoffs. So if you're taking like the body of work, the 2 most important games for them to get to the national title, they were not just underdogs. They were talked about as if they had no chance at winning by a lot of people, including myself. I'm putting myself in that. So I can see where they're coming from a little bit.
I'll say something. I think they're the least disrespected team in this game. I think Michigan was more disrespected throughout the season.
Okay. What? Oh. Hold on.
And I like Michigan, but
what? They were I mean, and I know Brandon was more facetious, and you're playing like, I mean,
No, are you
I
going
don't
to say
wanna
by me or by the whole world? Use the whole world, not just me.
whole world.
I'm my own thing.
Whole world.
Okay.
Because I think I mean, people were acting as if Michigan was just gonna like, oh, the cheating, they'll like lose to Penn State, they'll lose to Ohio State, and then like whatever. People shared the video of Michigan reacting to Alabama getting that spot as if it was like, you saw the United States troops coming your way during World War II.
Jack,
was like,
Jack.
Oh no.
You did that.
No, I didn't.
You reacted to that on this show just the same way I did, where we said they looked scared.
No, I said, no, I don't think I did.
I feel like you did that. I know I did it.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I could have been part of the disrespect too. I wasn't. I mean, I've been a firm believer in Michigan for a while now. I'm a firm believer in building a statue for Connor Stallions at the end of the season. Like, I'm firm in all of that. Pause, but like it's just. I think they may be more disrespected than Washington. I mean, we're losing the plot here because we're not really even breaking down the game anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm sure we'll get to that. And I think it's a fair conversation, but that's my take.
All right, here we go. Let's break down the game. So I don't really know how to do it. I think it comes down to three areas, and I'll just break down the three areas. Can Michigan run the football and control the game to the point where they keep Michael Penix off the field, or they just grind it out and take Washington's heart? Because I don't believe J.J. McCarthy is coming out and throwing for 350 and 4 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to try that, even though Washington's pass defense is garbage, and that is the way to attack this team. Michigan doesn't have that in their arsenal. So I think the way Texas should have, Texas averaged 7 yards a carry. I feel like Michigan's going to commit to the run early, and they're going to – Corum's going to get 25 carries. Donovan Edwards is going to get 20 carries. Orgy's going to get 5 to 7 carries. Can they do that and control this game and never let Washington have a pulse?
Yes, they can, but I think it's going to be the biggest matchup to me. I know you talk about Michigan running the ball, Michigan's offense versus Washington defense. If Michigan, and they do have the best defensive front in college football, I do believe that. And we've seen it happen now. Georgia's always up in that conversation. The way that Michigan has played, especially on the defensive line, to me this year, they have the best. But Michael Penix was not tested at all and against Texas. I mean, I don't know the exact number. I know he was never sacked.
Well, hold on. That's a great point. I want to fix that for you. Texas was getting after his ass. Texas was coming. They were getting close. They were rushing his ass. He just did a phenomenal job of getting the ball out. They were in his face, and he would drop dimes anyway. So, no, while they might not have sack numbers, that pass rush was there, just like Michigan's pass rush is going to be there. It's up to him whether he does the same thing again.
Right. That to me is the biggest matchup of the game. Like, we can talk about Michigan being able to run the ball where Texas couldn't, or Texas ran away from it or got away from it. That's fine. To me, that is the biggest matchup by far in this game is, can Michigan, who has the best defense in the country, actually get him on the ground? Because Texas could not. Now, I'm not saying that they weren't pass rushing. I'm not saying that they weren't getting after his ass. They just could not get to him. If Michigan can do that, then that's the biggest difference to me, because we saw what happened when they couldn't do it. And that game was still close. Like, yes, it was much closer at the end because of the weird shit that happened with the injury and with Texas getting down the field, whatever. If Michigan can actually knock him on his ass, that is the biggest key to me, because Michael Penix is by far the best quarterback they've seen all year.
Yeah.
See what happens when he can elude the pocket, when he can use his legs, when he can throw an absolutely Hollywood perfect pass. If he can continue to do that, this game is much closer. If they can get him on his ass early in the game, that to me is the biggest key.
Well, I think that's a key. Certainly, if they get him down, that changes the whole thing. I mean, they broke Jalen Milroe early. They broke him. Jalen Milroe isn't 1/10 the quarterback that Michael Penix is, though. Jalen Milroe also didn't have receivers on the back end getting open. Washington has probably the best receiver group in the country. The thing about Michigan's defense is not only do they have that defensive line, and not only do they have those good linebackers, they got 3 of the best corners in the country. So even I think there's a world, even if that offensive line holds up and Penix is back there standing like a statue, those corners are really fucking good. Those corners against those receivers could become the key matchup of the game because the receivers are great, the corners are great. Which side is going to give in? Now, I think this is a classic, and I know, Jack, you had something to say, but I think this is a classic first 15 minutes game. I think whoever wins this game is the team that takes control first. Like, if Washington goes up 7-0 and Michigan's chasing with J.J. McCarthy, that's a bad recipe for Michigan. If Michigan goes up 10-0 in the first quarter and Washington is having to throw and there's no doubt about it, and Michigan pins their ears back, I don't think either team is built to chase the other one in this game. So that's what I want. Now, Jack, what do you have to say?
I agree with everything said. Off of Brandon's point, I think it's a Rico Boscoism, but I think the coin toss matters a lot in this game. I think obviously if you win the coin toss, you have to go and score. But I do think for Washington, they got to win the coin toss, and it's a 50-50 shot. The biggest matchup for me, without a doubt, is how does Washington's rush defense go up against Michigan? The Washington rush defense is one of the worst in the country in regards to falling behind schedule. They allow 3 to 4 yard runs, and Michigan can do that all day. They'll do that all day. And J.J. McCarthy's shown in almost all of his big games, at least recently, outside of the TCU one, he doesn't make mistakes. He hasn't made mistakes this year. I guess you could say the one on the sideline that was an interception that wasn't. But I don't even think JJ will be. If Michigan, the game flow is so important here. If Michigan controls the game flow, they won't even need JJ. He may have 110 yards passing. Maybe he'll run for 15 to 20 yards. And Blake Corum will have 150 yards. Donovan Edwards will have 70, or EG will have 52, and then that's that. And that is something I don't see an area of this game where Washington, the biggest mismatch is there. Michigan's rush offense against Washington's rush defense, and Michigan's red zone offense versus Washington's red zone defense. Those are two things that I think are most likely to really we'll look back on and say this is where they won the game. Now, I will say, Brandon, I would feel a lot better being down, and it's ironic because they're the underdogs, but I'd feel a lot better if I'm down 14-0 if I'm Washington than if I'm Michigan. And I think that's probably universally agreed, just based upon offense.
I guess. I just I don't think Michigan's a team to come back on. I listen. That defense gets a little
Washington's
blood in the water.
So good this year, though. Yeah. They just drain that clock. And I know 14-0 is a little different, but what they'll do is they'll go up 31-21, and then they'll just go on a 13-minute drive. Kalen DeBoer is so good at that. And I wanted to ask this question: who do you think's the better coach in this game?
Well, I think it's 1A, 1B. They're both having their moment right now, right? Obviously, Nick Saban's the best coach in the country, but these guys are having their moment. Harbaugh has built to this moment, and now Kalen DeBoer just came out of nowhere. I would probably say Kalen DeBoer because, goddamn, I mean, look what he's doing. What is his record? 91-2? It's just an absurd record.
I think he's lost in games he's coached 11 games, not just college, in all college football games that he's D3, D2, wherever he was. I think he's lost 11 games.
Hasn't he only? I mean, I think I think max 4 at Washington, right? Is it even 4?
I think 2.
He's 103-11 all time as a head coach, including FCS.
That's not right.
Also, he wasn't even a coach 10 years ago.
He's so young.
That is my record when I play a 10-year dynasty on NCAA on PlayStation. That is my record. I lose a couple first, but then I just win 75 in a row and get every 5-star. Kalen DeBoer is me 9 years into a dynasty.
And he's how old is he?
He's older than you think. I think.
Oh,
but
I thought he was like early 40s.
his problem is, and maybe we're the only show that would ever talk about this. His problem is, it's a bad name, right? Kaylen DeBoer.
Oh.
It's a bad. I mean, sorry. Kaylen's a bad name. Kaylen's not a good name.
It's a good name if you make it, like if you're really good at
It's a good name for your kid. It's not a good name for a 50-year-old coach of Washington.
No, it's a really, like if you're just like a random guy or gal, whatever, if you're a random person named Kaylen, then it's like, okay. But if you're like a really fucking good college football or NFL coach or whatever, Kaylen DeBoer is a badass name.
I don't know. I think if a guy's over there in the corner at the bar checking you out and you walk up and like, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, my name's Kaylen. I think you turn around and leave.
Well, it depends. Is he the head coach of the Washington Huskies? Like in the college
DeBoer, you couldn't, Kayce, you couldn't marry a person named DeBoer.
Well, I would always keep Smith anyways, but yeah, Kayce DeBoer does not.
Yeah, that's way too close to Kayce DeHore. That would be so easy for me to say. There's nothing. You couldn't do that.
Have you been working on that?
No, it just happened.
Oh, well, congratulations.
I mean, I have been calling you a whore to all my friends. I mean,
that is true. That is true.
Katie, you okay? All right.
Brandon just likes to slip that in, and people are probably like, what an asshole. It's like that's like the nicest thing he said to me in the last like 2 weeks.
The thing about the rush offense, rush defense thing is Washington, there are so many stats that today don't matter. Like you can have a bad stat in a defensive area and it not really matter because the game doesn't go that way anymore. However, it's hard to game the system on this stat. Washington gives up 4.4 yards a carry. That's 86th in the country. Michigan sees that number, and my God, they can't wait to get on the field. I want Washington to win. I want Michael Penix to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, and I want to have a big Penix celebration on Tuesday. I just want all the Penix love, okay? I want it. Give me the Penix.
He's all that today. This is Sunday morning, and the sexual innuendos are just.
That was confetti, guys.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was confetti raining down over Michael Penix. What is wrong with y'all?
Please.
Anyway, I want Washington to win. Somebody give me a path to Washington winning. I get it. We all know where it is. It's Penix going nuts and those receivers going nuts and J.J. McCarthy throwing 2 picks, which, by the way, is not off the table because, goddamn it, he tried to be bad against Alabama and Alabama wouldn't let him. So the quarterbacks are the key here. I think if J.J. McCarthy makes 0 mistakes, Michigan wins. If he makes 1 mistake, it's iffy. If he makes 2 mistakes, Washington wins. How about that?
It's a good, like Jack said, we've all said it. There are matchups across the board that you can look at and you can point as the quote most important. They're obviously all very important. Jack is right where it's like the most mismatched. The strength versus the strength we know is Michael Penix and those receivers versus Michigan's front 7. Those are the 2 strongest for each team, but that could easily mean that Michael Penix just has to elevate his game. Like they're obviously not gonna do what Texas did because I think Michigan is a much better defense than Texas. I do think that they are going to be able to get him on the ground. How much can they do it? And then you look at the coaching decisions. Now, what we saw Sark do in the Sugar Bowl, that's not going to happen in this game. Nick Saban, I don't believe it was his fault what happened on that last play with Jalen Milroe, but still, I think that the coaching decisions, we're going to know that the coaches are putting these teams in the best position possible. So at the end of the day, and I know who I'm going to take Michigan, I have to look and say, I think Michigan's defense is just that much better, and they are going to get to Michael Penix. If Washington fans want to say Michael Penix is that much better, then fine. But to me, that's the key, Michigan's defense. And if J.J. McCarthy throws 5 interceptions, I'll feel differently. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this team.
Oh, that's bold of you. If J.J. McCarthy throws 5 interceptions, I'll feel
J.J. McCarthy throws.
Wow.
I was being a little bit over dramatic, but like. I don't think that J.J. McCarthy making mistakes is as important as the way Michigan's defense plays against Michael Penix. So I think Michael Penix is the best quarterback in the country. So
one of the biggest things we need to talk about is Dave Portnoy a massive pussy for refusing to bet on Michigan in this game?
Against you or in general?
No. He's not betting Michigan in this game. He is not placing a bet. On the college football show, he said, I'm not betting on Michigan. He won $1 million on Michigan last week. He won some money on Washington too. I don't know how much.
500.
And he is getting to the one moment he's built up for as a Michigan fan for 30 years, and he's not betting it. When have you known Dave not to bet a game?
So here's
a Michigan game like this.
And it was kind of clarified, but not really. Because if you're listening or watching this right now and you haven't watched the college football show, I mean, we should have just let Dave talk for an hour by himself. Like, that's all that happened. I took that as, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I took that as he wasn't betting Michigan -4.5, that he was going to bet Michigan to win the game.
I didn't take that at all.
That's what I took. I took that he wasn't taking the line, but he was going to take Michigan money line.
No, I don't believe that. I believe Dave Portnoy is a magnificent pussy. That's what I believe.
I do know that you asked him to bet with you, and he
wouldn't do it. He does not think they're going to win this game.
I don't think he said that.
I don't care what he said. I don't care what he said. His actions are telling me that he does not believe they're going to win this game.
If he's not betting them to win at all, then that would give me a little bit more pause. Again, maybe I just misconstrued it. I thought he just wasn't taking -4.5, which I don't. Is that still the line as of right now when we're recording at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday?
Okay. That was another topic of conversation. Jack, help me read this. It's been 4.5 since the beginning, right? Hasn't moved an inch. That's how many times you see a national title game and the line doesn't move an inch, where action doesn't push it one way or the other. What's happening?
I think it's this game seen as like a 3 to 7 point game. I mean, that's what, and there's people that would move lines in a game like this, which is probably pretty hard because it's such a like heavily bet game. I think like those groups that would move the lines throughout the world in Vegas, whatnot, whatever you want to call it, are probably split in who they think. From what I've heard, people that are really like great college football bettors, they don't really have a side in this game. They kind of look at this line as, oh, that's pretty reflective of what could happen. Yeah. And I think it's a really good line. I mean, I'll be on Michigan, but I'm not confident in it at all. I'm not even confident in a total.
All right, I'll just say what I did.
That's what I was going to ask that, Brandon, because that was a huge point of difference on the college football show.
I'm going to get there. Last Monday night at the end of the Washington game, and the line came out, Michigan -4.5, I emptied my account onto Michigan. So I'm riding with Michigan -4.5. I thought, get it now, because by the time it starts, it'll be 7. It'll be 8. That's what I thought. It hasn't moved, which is troubling. Very, very troubling, considering the money I've got into it.
So Jack just mentioned the total. That was another thing between, I know Ev and Dan were very staunchly on the over. You're taking the under.
I'm taking the under, yeah. I think Michigan's going to win. Therefore, I think Michigan's going to have control of the game. Therefore, I think you're going to see 7 to 9 minute drives. I think you're going to see 40 carries from their running backs. I think you're going to see a team absolutely try to lean on their opponent and choke them out. I don't think they're going to try to beat them by 4 touchdowns. I don't think they're going to try to beat them 55 to 10 or 50, whatever. I think if Michigan can win this game 27-6, 27 to 10, 24 to 10, they're absolutely going to do it with these long ass drives, something similar to the way they beat Penn State. Just get the lead and lean on them. That's what I think they're going to do. And if Washington comes out and they score 14 points in the first quarter, the under is probably shot. But I think the under is the play. Everybody else thinks over. I understand that. But look at how Michigan would prefer to win this game. I think it leads towards the under.
Jack, what do you think?
I was in Brandon's camp, but then I saw Colin Wilson over at the Action Network, which was discussing the officiating crew for this game. And these officials love to throw penalties, man. And I think we're going to see a lot of penalties in this game. And I also think the game flow may value an over, because how I see it happening is even if Michigan does what they want on the ground, they may score in 5-minute drives, 6-minute drives, and that will allow Washington to come back. And I also think the door will be wide open for, even if Michigan's up, let's say 28-14 with 7 minutes to go, I still think that the over will be very much in play just due to how both these teams play. But Even if it was 35-14 with like 3 minutes to go, Washington could go and score a garbage touchdown. But I'm not confident either way. Like it kind of stinks because it's the last game of the season. You want to have a big bet, but I don't really. I think Michael Penix's rushing yards could be great here. I also like Blake Corum. Like if you can get 3 TDs for Blake Corum, I think he could score every touchdown for Michigan.
Yeah. I don't like the Penix rushing yards, but I like everything else you said.
Like I feel like prop bets on Blake Corum is just like it's just fun. Like that to me is just like not. I mean, it's a safe bet, but also like it's just a fun bet to have. Maybe I'm just biased because I like Blake Corum a lot.
Yeah, so here we are. We're just talking about Michigan and Washington. That's fun. That's
Katie is still
Michigan and Washington.
Katie, I know you had Michigan at the beginning of the season to win the national title. How are you feeling? How confident are you in that? I mean, I know preseason predictions, they are what they are, but like you're squarely here to be completely right on that.
It's the same way coming into the Rose Bowl. I feel like I like Michigan. I think they can do it, but Michael Penix in Washington scares the shit out of me, which I know is such a cop-out answer. But also, as Jack was saying, like we don't really know. Isn't that a good sign? It's a good game that there's not like a strong opinion on one side.
I think it's a great game, and I think the chess match of it all makes it even better. And Katie, sorry I cut you off, but just to continue.
I think there's a way fans look at a game, which what she's saying is correct. But fans look at it and say, yeah, I'm probably scared of Michael Penix, and you got to respect Michael Penix and respect those receivers and respect that offense. I think Michigan's defense is sitting in their hotel right now, and they can't wait to go out and shut Michael Penix shit up. I really think now, whether they're right or not, I think they can't wait to go out there and shut this shit down. And let me just say one thing about Michael Penix, because right now he is the hotness, and obviously he's a great quarterback and everything. There was a stretch this season where he didn't play very well. It happened, and I'm not making it up. It absolutely happened. Now, whether it was nagging injuries or just the stretch of being tired, whatever, fatigue, I don't know. There was a stretch in the second half of the season where he did not play very well. He didn't come out and throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and look perfect like he did against Texas every single game. It is possible to slow them down. I'll just say that.
And he also, I mean, he's been very injury prone, and I'm not saying like that is going to have anything to do with tomorrow night, but like there is a lot of conversation. I mean, he's torn both ACLs, like in both knees. Like that's crazy. You talk about storylines, and I agree with you, Brandon, that this like Dave Michigan storyline is just like written on the wall. The cheating scandal, the whole thing. Like Michael Penix is also one of those college football storylines too, where you look at and you're like, this guy was counted out. The Indiana, like he had some hype, but it was just like his career is done. And then all of a sudden he is one of the main reasons that they're there. And we talk about Kayce DeBoer, who's obviously an incredible coach, but like Michael Penix's comeback story and like just everything that he does. I know Jack, Katie, and I talked about it before our Christmas episode, but it was like, I don't know him personally, but every single thing that is put out about him, he seems like he's also just like a great guy and has like a great family story and like all this, like that to me is not surprising that like if we look back, I'm like, damn, Michael Penix, like he was.
There are two great, like it's almost like both these teams are teams of destiny.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I mean, I just like and people are going to get on me for this because it's like the new thing to do. And eventually I will be right about this and people will say, Jack, thank you. But I'm sorry, it's his 6th year. Like that doesn't really do it for me. It doesn't do it for me. I'm a Michael Penix fan. I wish him the best. I think he's going to be great in the NFL too. I think he could have a huge game here. The story of him, like for like, oh my God, college, like it's his 6th year. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you say that, and that's fine. I'm with you. It's got to be. It's a trend that we can't ignore, right? Stetson Bennett and now Michael Penix. Like these are guys who stick around, and eventually become great. Now Penix did it before Stetson Bennett did, and Penix has been really, really great for a couple of years now. But like, if I'm trying to jumpstart a program, like when DeBoer got there, he went and got Penix first, and then he built this thing. If I'm trying to jumpstart a program, do I want to come in and try to do it with a 19-year-old quarterback who has a lot of potential, or do I want to grab a 23-year-old who's seen everything and is smart and processes things faster? I think I might do it.
Yeah, no, I understand where Jack's coming from, that it's like kind of the fatigue at a certain point where it's like, all right, these guys are like in their, close to their mid-20s, if not in their mid-20s, like Stetson Bennett. But that's just the way it is now. Like that, it's not like it's the system that's allowing them to do this. And if that's what's working, then as long as that's allowed, then that's what teams, I think, should
Like, why
do.
shouldn't Talia Tagovailoa be able to play college football forever now? Why not?
Where's he going, by the way? That was a weird transfer. Didn't see that one coming.
Mississippi
Yeah,
State.
I know.
He's still not approved, I think. His paperwork out to get another year. I think he entered it. They know it's coming, but it's not officially that he's granted it either.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're talking about one game right now, but there's a lot of maneuvering and stuff in the. Let's talk about this. We just glanced over it a little bit ago, but what if? I think Harbaugh's going to the Chargers. I think Harbaugh is about to either win the national title or lose the national title, and by next Sunday is the coach of the San Diego Chargers, who now reside in LA. So, what if the Michigan job is just open in about 4 days? That's a huge, massive wave in college football.
Huge, massive wave. And I think that it's more likely than not. I truly believe that regardless of what happens, not just in the national title game, in the playoff as a whole, like I think that Jim Harbaugh was going to go. Like after everything that happened at the end of the season, and then people were saying, well, if he wins a national title, he's gone because he's done it all. I don't think there was a scenario in these two games where he was going to stay. I truly don't. They could have gotten blown out by Alabama, or they could win the whole thing. He's leaving to go to the NFL. It doesn't look like it's going to be Chicago, because they basically said that their guy's going to stay. The Chargers makes the most sense in the world. We've been talking about Jim Harbaugh going to the NFL for years. And
yeah, but forget that. Who goes to Michigan?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like,
what are you pointing?
Sharon Moore, or
Sharon Moore. Yeah,
there's a coach down south who could come back up north that has been mentioned.
And he wants it apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that would be so. The easiest thing for college football would be Sharon Moore. Whatever, we keep it moving forward, and I think that'd be a fine hire for Michigan.
Yeah.
But if it's Brian Kelly, then that sets off a
chain.
Who
reaction.
knows?
Yeah.
What would happen? Like it would be like dominoes. Like we'd do another coaching search domino effect.
But
I also wouldn't put it past Jim Harbaugh to play around with the media, have a little fun, do the whole like I hope I have a future, and then it's like I just signed a 10-year contract with Michigan. I would say I'm more like 60% he's going to NFL.
Oh, see, I think I'm like 85, because I think that whatever, again, whether it's fair or not, you agree with it or not, whatever. The way that the NCAA handled everything with him prior to the Connor Stallion stuff, like the cheeseburgers and the lying about it, and now they're talking about looking back at COVID and all that, like somebody at the NCAA has it out for Jim Harbaugh, and that's not going to stop. Then you add this incredible story of the cheating and Connor Stallion's, like this is not going to stop anytime soon, as long as he is in Ann Arbor. Like that's going to keep going. So it's like, if you're Jim Harbaugh, you got to sit back there and be like, do I really want to fucking deal with this all the time? Or do I just want to go to the NFL where I don't have to worry about recruiting? I don't have to worry about sanctions. I don't have to worry about what I did prior to a global pandemic. I'm just going to go coach. That's what I would do.
What about the possibility of JJ and Jim Harbaugh coming back next year?
To me, and this is I think I'm alone on this island. Where the fuck else is JJ going to go? I don't think the NFL is going to look at his film and be like, "Oh yeah, got to get this guy."
No, I think
he's Will Levis. He's Will Levis part 2, and Will Levis is starting now due to an injury. Thank you, but he's a guy that scouts say they like, but I don't think they're going to like him as much when they really get their hands on him.
Now that's fair. I do think he will have NFL interest for sure. Now, I know you're saying more so like projecting him for the NFL, and that's completely fair. But he is a guy that, like, I mean, he does throw like a really, really nice ball. He doesn't turn the ball over.
He's a classic, looks like an NFL quarterback. But did you see the game against Alabama? Like, he would throw 4-yard slants, 98 miles an hour, and just give his receivers no chance. Like, he has no touch. He has no NFL ability, in my opinion, to regulate his passes to the situation. Now, he doesn't make mistakes. They don't put him in a position to make mistakes. But keep in mind, we watched that game. He tried to make mistakes. Very first pass of the game was a pick. Then he just got lucky. The guy stepped out of bounds. I don't think the guy's got an NFL future. That's just me.
Could you see, though? I mean, I think him being a starter in the NFL, a long-term starter, I do think that's kind of wishful thinking. I like JJ McCarthy as a quarterback. I agree with you there. But couldn't you see them looking at him being like, this guy, we've seen some potential. We've seen him make it to the big games multiple times. Yeah, he's made some mistakes. He's a little bit raw there. But, like, he could be a great backup. Get him behind, like, a good quarterback, a good, solid starting franchise quarterback. Let him back there. And if that quarterback gets hurt or if there's time where they need him, they can rely on him. That, to me, is not a crazy take whatsoever.
Maybe. I just don't see – I don't see scouts, once they get into this combine situation, getting excited about his skill set. I think maybe he is a solid guy because, those guys exist. But I don't think he's –
He's 6'4", he's fast, and he has a solid arm. I think he will be – I think people will buy in on him.
As soon as they turn on that tape, I don't think they see NFL throws. I don't think they see an NFL quarterback.
He had some NFL throws against Alabama.
He had some bad NFL throws too.
This is where, like, Brandon Walker, and I agree with you that you're seeing it one way. But, like, if JJ McCarthy wasn't on Michigan going into the national title.
No, absolutely not. I'm not doing that shit. No. I did the same thing with Will Levis. Everybody was gushing over him. Everybody in the world was gushing over him. I'm like, guys, it's right there on tape. Like, I know he's 6'4". I know he's 230. I know he's this. It's not there. Now, he has been better in the NFL this year than he was even in college. So maybe JJ has that life ahead of him.
Well, Will Levis also didn't ever make it to the games that JJ McCarthy's making it to. Like, Kentucky was never in the.
Yeah, he never played for a team with Blake Corum and the best defense in the country either.
But there have been multiple. This is one of those arguments I feel like we could have for the rest of time. JJ McCarthy could be in a retirement home, but like some of the throws that you don't think are great throws that he's made, like even at the Ohio State game, like he makes these throws. Now,
he made one good throw against Ohio State.
Well, you said he made 0 good throws, so we've made a.
No, I said he made one good throw. It was the throw that. Yeah, you know the throw.
I know the throw.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I have a bold prediction for this game, which is not really that bold.
So we're doing bold predictions.
Bold predictions.
All right.
Well, I have 2, but Jack already mentioned one. I think Blake Corum having 150 yards is an easy thing to happen. Like, I don't even know if that's necessarily bold, but my bold prediction is I do not think that either fan base or anybody watching this game is ever going to feel comfortable until that clock strikes 0. I think that this game is going to be completely a slugfest, a heavyweight fight, throwing punches back and forth, whether it's a defensive punch or it's an offensive explosive punch. I don't think that anybody is going to feel comfortable until a team is hoisting that trophy. That's how good I think this game is going to be. I think that the semifinals obviously were incredible, and this is going to be the best 4-team playoff we've ever seen by far, and it's the last one. We're expanding the playoff next year, but I do not see a scenario that we've seen in the past where one game of the 3 is boring. I think that this one is going to be incredibly entertaining. I think Michigan wins. I think Michigan's going to hoist the trophy, but Michigan's never going to feel comfortable, and neither is Washington.
I think Michigan's going to be remarkably comfortable as they cruise to victory. I hope they don't. Jack, what's your bold prediction?
I don't have a bold prediction.
That's bold.
That is bold.
That is bold.
I
don't know what conference it was that he did that, where he just didn't have an answer and it was just like pass. Like he was like, I don't think
there'll be no turnovers in this game.
Okay, that's bold.
Do you believe that, or just a bold prediction?
That's his bold prediction.
I believe that, and then also one last matchup I want to mention. Washington's been so good throughout the season at catching contested balls. I think they're the best in the country, which goes to show how good their wide receiver room is. That will be a huge matchup. How can Michigan, because Michigan against Alabama really shut down those contested throws. There was a really good pass from Jalen Milroe down, I think, the right sideline, and I think the second or third quarter, and a safety broke it up.
Yeah,
those are the plays that will be a huge difference. So I'm really interested in looking at that.
Yep. Katie, what's your bold prediction?
I like Jack. I struggled to find one. I think the game is going to be won or lost like Jack said, with the Michigan secondary versus Washington receivers. I think that Michigan's running game and offensive line will do their job and they'll score, but we've both seen high caliber offense. I think the game depends on Michigan's secondary. I think they're going to win or lose it.
All right, and mine.
Oh boy.
I think Monday night, at some point during the game, we could be treated to the greatest thing these eyeballs have ever seen. I don't know when it's coming, but every context clue I've seen has led me to believe that they're dropping a commercial for the new NCAA football game during this game. I don't think they've said that, but it has been like really implied, heavily implied from EA Sports that Monday night we're going to find some things out about the new NCAA football game. And I don't give a fuck about Michigan or Washington. I hope they both lose. Okay, whatever. If you gave me the choice to watch tomorrow night's game or play the new NCAA football game, I'm going to EA Sports headquarters and I'm playing it. Because, my God, it's been fucking 11 years. 11 long years. And we're within months of getting our dirty, disgusting, greasy hands back on that piece of gold that is NCAA football. And I want it. I need it. I need it bad. It has to happen. So I want to see it Monday night. Give me what you got, EA Sports. That's my bold prediction.
Whenever that happens, the group texts are going to go crazy because Brandon, like I whatever second that drops, if it happens, Brandon is just going to be losing his mind somewhere. Michigan could win by 100. He wouldn't care.
I've already, first of all, Michigan wins by 100. Brandon Walker comes into some money. Secondly, listen, I've got about, again, a day and a half left to talk about Michigan cheating because it's a blood oath. I'm not going to talk about Michigan cheating once it goes 0 tomorrow night. But, I financially invested in Michigan, so I'm going to be happy at some point on Monday night. I'm going to be happy because I would love to give up all of that money to see Washington win this football game.
But
money well spent.
Yes, but if Michigan wins, then at least you made some money.
Correct.
Okay, so my son is standing up in his crib right now, so I'm gonna have to go get him. But final predictions with score. Or just how many they win. You don't have to do an actual.
I'm gonna go 31-10 Michigan.
Katie?
What? I said 3. I've said everything I've said on this show.
No, I know. Just hearing it in my mind, I was going like high teens, low 20s, and I heard that. Michigan. I'm going to do Michigan by 3.
Jack?
34-24, Michigan.
I'm going to say Michigan 34, Washington 28.
See, that's the thing, and the chat's doing it right now. 31-10. This championship game is not close way more often than it's close. Like
that's why my bold prediction. That's why it is bold. We never see all 3 games be close.
Everybody always wants to predict. It's going to be a 3-point game, a 6-point game. Well, that's wonderful. But I think if Michigan controls this game, they show the control on the scoreboard and they win the game 31-10. Now 10 would be pretty shocking, but that's a good defense.
I mean, Brandon is like beyond right. The last time this game was within single digits is 2017, like the final score. Like and that was overtime, and I mean 65-7, 33-18, 52-24, 42-25, 44-16. I mean, these games are like they haven't been great for a while.
No, these are also the games which I know the 4 of us roll our eyes every single time, but this is always the week where the non-college football fans, the people who just tune in, watch this game and then see college football stinks. Why, like, especially when it's Alabama and it's like, oh, we're just going to watch a blowout game in the championship. That always happens, especially in our company. Like, we see everybody do that. Like, why would we watch this? I think this is going to be different. I do. I think it's going to be very close. I think Michigan ends up winning by 7, but it's not going to be until the very end of the game that we know for sure Michigan's going to win. Till they hold the trophy. JJ McCarthy, MVP.
Oh, boy. No, you can't. Hold on. Your entire show has been Blake Corum. He's going to run for this. He's going to run for that. I love Blake Corum. And then you want JJ McCarthy MVP?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, fair enough.
Neither one of them. I don't think that props out there, but like
Blake Corum, MVP would be great. First touchdown. I know it depends on what state you're in, but I think either of the tight ends, Loveland or I think Michigan or Washington's tight ends last name's Mitchell. I think they're both like, I think they're both like 50-1 or something. That may be a little bit of fun. Loveland, I think, could have a big game. I like him a lot too. He just looks like he should be in the NFL catching touchdowns.
All right, y'all want to shut him down?
Yep, we will be live tomorrow night after the game. Instant reaction.
Not tomorrow night. Oh, it is tomorrow night. I'm an idiot.
I don't know where Jack is right now.
For a second, I was like, wait a minute, what day is it?
I took last night, this company sent me this this like sleeping not potion, but like it's no drugs, it's all natural stuff. And man, I'm still like I'm still tired. Like it's like I've never, and I'm usually at this point after coffee, like I'm good. I'm like, I'm not here.
But Jack, today is the NFL, so you do have to.
No, NFL. Let's go, baby. Come on.
All right, photo, everybody. Okay.
All right, that's it. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Subscribe, like,
enjoy.
comment. Subscribe.